Welcome back to another reaction video, and today I'm going to check out some music from one of the earlier Persona games for the first time. I have played through Persona 3, 4, and 5. I started with 3 pretty late, after I think 5 had already come out, but I started back with the original version of 3, and then the original version of 4, not Golden, and then eventually played 5. I played Royal, and then since then I played P3 Reload, and I've played Metaphor. But I haven't gone back and played the first two. I've actually had it recommended to give them a try, and that they deserve to be maybe appreciated a little bit more, and they do interest me. And obviously the series is known for its music. You know, there's kind of the meme of like Persona 5 invented jazz, you know, which is a great meme. But, you know, that soundtrack absolutely slaps, and we all love it. And I really like music from all the games. Probably I like tracks from 5 and 3 a little more than 4, but 4 has a lot of music that's really good. It's almost probably I underrate it a little bit. I just don't go back and listen to them as much because they're not quite as iconic. And because there's a couple tracks in that game that get really annoying, like when the kind of mystery like thing happens, this little loop. It's kind of funny. It's also on like the worst game music playlist, and yeah, I mean, it serves its purpose, but it's kind of funny. Or the music that plays when like some heavy thing happens, then you go right back to the happy mood. Anyways, but there is good music in 4 as well. But yeah, I really don't know if the games created a musical identity by Persona 1 and 2, or if that really started with 3 as the series like kind of came into its own, got a little bit bigger, got more attention, and seemed to like maybe establish more of its aesthetic. Obviously, Persona 5 like really went further in establishing that strong aesthetic that really ties the whole concept of like the Persona games together. But you know, it's still similar to 3 and 4 in some ways. It musically departs a bit, but they're all pretty groovy and pretty awesome. So yeah, I'm really curious if this one is going to feel more in line, like pretty close to 3, or if I'm going to feel like there was a big jump. And of course, it's just going to be off of one track. This one's called Unbreakable Tie. I saw some attention on this track, so I just decided to give it a shot. It's 4 minutes long. I think I managed to pick the original PlayStation version of this track. Most of the ones available seem to be from the PSP. And honestly, I really like, if I can, going back and hearing the original versions. I'm not that big a fan of like remastered soundtracks or music for anything, like remastered albums of bands I like, remastered game music. Like, it's cool, and sometimes it is really good, and especially if it's like reorchestrated like in Smash Bros, like those tracks they do are great. But as far as the real like identity and the core music, I really do want to hear what it sounded like originally. I don't care if it sounds dated. In fact, a lot of times I actually prefer that. So let's check it out and see what this is. I have no clue. Like, we'll see how different it is from what I know Persona for. All right, right into Persona battle theme feeling. Nice little drop out in just the rhythm. All right, so it's clearly Persona. It's the same vibes. Damn. I love just the massive amount of rhythmic content. Oh, the classic transition to the female vocals, the clean female vocals. Man, okay, so my classic stop after 30 or 40 seconds about when it transitions to the next section seems to be that seems to be my thing. I'm glad we're establishing a style that you can all get used to. I don't know, I'll mix up the formula sometime, but this is what everything seems to be like now. Anyways, yeah, well, my question's answered. This sounds, you know, completely like the soundtracks, especially of Persona 3 and kind of 4, and 5 is a little different, but it's still the same kind of idea. It just, they changed the vocals with Lynn. Yeah, it's got the same kind of rap sample. I always kind of wonder, like, which tracks do have like original, like written and recorded rap in Persona, or if they're all from the sample CDs. For those who don't know, and I'm not an expert on this, but if you aren't aware, it's pretty surprising actually that a lot of the like iconic rap, like the dorm theme in Persona 3, is just like pretty straight pulled from this sample CD that has these just different rap samples that are kind of old school, and they show up surprisingly in a lot of like very, very famous hit songs as well. It's like kind of crazy to hear what these samples are. And the thing with Persona 3 is they usually like in that dorm theme, they really like slow it down and pitch it down so it at least sounds different, and it's like used artistically to create a different kind of vibe. It's not just a one for one slapping in the rap from the sample. I think it's also the case in the Burning Man's Soul, the hilarious game track. Well, not game track. I forget if that's even from a Persona game, but the one that says yo, I'm in the house like carpet. Like that also, I think, is, even though it sounds like a rap that might have been written like in Japanese and like weirdly localized, I think that one is also just off a sample CD, despite how like kind of unique and iconic it is. So I wonder with this, it's very fast, but that also makes me assume it's from a sample thing, because it's the opposite of what's done on like the things I mentioned from Persona 3, where they take the sample and slow it down, taking it and speeding it up to fit the vibe of a different track. That does make sense to me, to be that source. So it's probably a rap sample used in a cool way, and then we transition to these female vocals in a way that happens in a lot of just really great Persona tracks. Like Color Your Night from Persona 3 Reload is awesome, or like just the intro music in it. There's so many good ones that have this formula. But what stands out to me in this, and I promise we'll get back to listening to it, what stands out to me musically is just, it's got all of this like choppy staccato rhythmic content, very fast tempo, all of these little chopped up rhythmic hits. And I feel like that's something that makes this feel a bit unique from other Persona tracks I know. Like the overall vibe's very similar, but it feels faster and it feels more rhythmic. There's a lot more attack on all of this. And I really like it. Like it creates a really extreme, like high energy to it. And in some ways it's like a parallel for some other like battle themes I've heard, like Persona 3 battle themes. In some ways it parallels it, but I feel like it goes a little further even with like this emphasis on this rhythmic content. And occasionally it just drops the other layers out and just has these rhythmic hits that let you really focus on them. I really appreciate like music that sounds a bit chaotic and completely drops sound and like chops up these moments. There's a really cool Japanese sort of, I don't know if it's like prog metal / pop kind of band called Sokoni Naru, which I recommend checking out. They're awesome, and they do a lot of like these moments of like full stop and chopping up the sound with these like momentary breaks. So it's little bits that remind me of that, and that's a band I love, so it's kind of cool to just have a little connection. Anyways, I'm gonna listen back to this intro again. Really liked it. I feel like already it's like one of my, I assume this is a battle track because it sounds like it. It would be a battle track I might like even more than the Persona 3 ones. But let's go. Let's get through this intro again. I'll think about it some more, and then we'll jump into the next section with the clean female vocals. So satisfying. Love that. And like even if it's a sample like usual in Persona, like it just sounds good. It's used in a good way. And it's also super rhythmic. Oh, and that step up with those kind of sci-fi synths. Yeah, kind of interesting discordant harmonies there. Just got that bass underneath it, repeating these notes. It's interesting. It's different from the other kind of female vocal sections. Oh, that sounds so cool. Oh my god. It's like kind of grungy. Oh. Yes. Oh, that was so good. That's so different from the other sections like that in other Persona pieces. Now we get a kind of peaceful guitar solo, a little like power ballady, even though that wasn't the vibe of the previous section. So it's kind of a different feel, even though it flowed into it properly. I love this sort of like minor 4 harmony. One of my favorites. But it goes somewhere else, it doesn't go minor 4 to 1. Ooh. That was an interesting choice. And it just stops. Stops again, has a cool little echo. It's more rhythmic hits leading back in, like the beginning of the piece. Nice. It reminds me of a Katamari track, actually. I don't know if this is exactly the same as before, but obviously similar section. We could also be at the loop. Not sure. Just some kind of interesting harmonic choices around here, or in the next section. Oh, I had organ for a second. Yeah, I don't know, like the drum kit on here is like interesting. It's like kind of like a garage band kind of sound. Not the program, like an actual band in a garage. Which really fits like the high school vibe of a Persona game. Like, I kind of feel like they should do that more. I absolutely love this part. Like, I like this more than other tracks I love from Persona. Ooh, little melodic difference. Go up to this high note again. All right, I don't think it is a loop. Yet. I guess this is a through composed track for these 4 minutes because we didn't get keyboard like this before. Oh, okay. Okay, so this brings up the question, as usual, brings up the question, what is it in the game? Does it actually end or loop with a little like piano outro like that? Like, I'm assuming no. I'm assuming that's like for the soundtrack. So again, kind of like hard to talk about it too much when I'm really interested in what the music is in the game. And you know what? I kind of have an idea at some point of doing music reactions a little different than some other people do. I'm just going to chat about the channel for a minute, and anybody who's interested can stick around and listen. I might even make an intro video for the channel that talks a little bit more about my conception of like where I'm starting, what my style is, like what I might want to do later, like what I'm going to explore. But one idea I had is because this keeps coming up of like, are these tracks shaped differently just to be on the OST? Like, are they chopped up differently? Are they structured differently? Are they losing like a dynamic effect that they change in the game, or are reactive? Like, how do they actually loop? Do they actually have these intros and outros? Because clearly if a composer worked hard to create the track in the game that loops, and then they like probably had to quickly come up with like an intro and outro for a soundtrack, I can't speak to say if that's exactly what does happen commonly, but I would imagine it would be something like that in some cases. And then it's like, well, it's not really fair to judge the track by like, or overanalyze like an intro and outro that exists just sort of last minute additions to make it a listenable soundtrack. So in light of that, I have kind of been thinking like, what if I did some game music reactions where I actually go in and play the game, but only for the purpose of reacting to the music. Like I've been like a variety game streamer in the past, so I'm pretty used to like streaming or making content out of gameplay, and it's pretty fun, but it's not really something I want to do again. It's very time consuming, and I don't know if it's the ideal niche. I think maybe that would work as something people would like to watch if it was heavily edited down with some great highlights, which, you know, I can have, but it's a lot of work for a small amount of stuff. And I prefer playing games privately anyways. But instead of that, like, I think it would be kind of unique to do a reaction stream. Like, say I did this, and this is a track that plays early in the game or in like a general area, and I play enough of the game to get to the point that this track plays, and then I actually like do this video while having a feed from the game of me actually playing it and test around with like, what does it sound like in the game? Like, does it loop? Like, how does it sound from the actual sound of the game? Is that maybe different than it would sound through YouTube? And yeah, like how does it repeat? Like, does it have an intro or outro? Like, is it dynamic or reactive in any way? Like, I already have played Hollow Knight, know that whole soundtrack, but for example, you could go into Hollow Knight, you could go to some place like Green Path, and you could start listening to the soundtrack and then go get in a battle and react to like how it changes. I feel like that would be like a step up in the interest of a game music reaction video, like, because that's more authentic to what the piece really is. It functions technologically a bit different than other music in its context. Not always. Sometimes the OST track is pretty much one for one what it exists like in the game, especially if it like accompanies a cutscene or whatever. It could be a title theme or credits, all kinds of stuff. Or it's in the OST where it really just has the same intro and then it has like a fade out at some point and you know it just loops in the game. But there's a lot of other ones where it brings up more questions, and it would be cool. Like, I've never seen somebody do a reaction or analysis to Hollow Knight music while playing the game live or using game footage and talking about it as a living dynamic piece of music rather than like whatever it sounds like on the OST. Same for stuff like Fire Emblem games with the thunder and rain themes that are between like being on the battle map or being in a fight when doing attacks. Other games as well. I don't know. That'd be a cool idea. Let me know if you think that might be interesting. It could be a lot more work, and it could be rarely that necessary. I'm just thinking of it because I'm noticing in almost all my reactions, I'm coming up with thoughts of like, I'm a bit uncertain sometimes, like what way it's represented in the game. And it's like, well, wouldn't that be kind of a cool, like niche thing to do? To be like, you know, I specifically actually go in game and look at the music there. And maybe that would give a chance to like listen to a variety of tracks that exist in a section of the game, instead of having to go like plan them and look at different videos. Anyways, just a little side conversation I wanted to have. And I'm going to go to the playlist because I like this so much. This was such a good track. Like, this was fantastic. I truly had a blast with this. I feel like it's even more successful in similar ways as other Persona music I like. I feel like the Persona 3 tracks and battle themes, for example, I have a lot of identity. They're great. I wouldn't necessarily change them, but I feel like I might like this one even more if, say, this was one of the tracks in Persona 3. It might actually be my favorite. But I might need to make a new thing. I think I gotta do, like, game music contemporary? I do not know what this place can be called. I haven't named the previous one yet. This like gorgeous, peaceful music. You know, let's try. Let's do another version of this name. We'll iterate on this. As it comes up in videos, I'll iterate and pick some better names. But I'm gonna change this from question marks to like, now we have two things on there. I've got an idea what this is. Gorgeous, peaceful. Gorgeous is a little bit of like there's something harsh like linguistically about it. How about I say beautiful tranquility? I'm gonna say beautiful tranquility. Okay. And this one's just gonna say like contemporary genre, like stuff that's like jazzy or sounds like, pop music, or is vocal or rap or something from games that I really like, might go together on a playlist. So Persona 2 Innocent Sin, and it's called Unbreakable Tie. All right, I like that a lot. It's absolutely going on this playlist. And maybe I'll improve the way this looks on the spreadsheet so you can see more of these playlists, but this is how it is for now. Maybe I just do it horizontally. Maybe I just switch the vertical to horizontal so you can see playlists listed. Because I currently don't have more than 4 songs on any of them, so for now they would be able to be displayed. I could definitely do that. Maybe I'll switch it for the next video. Anyways, thank you for watching. I hope you had an interesting time. Let me ramble on about my channel. Keep mixing things up, you know, my early days, kind of finding my style, just trying not to stress too much about what I make, and just hoping those who enjoy it like sticking around, and maybe even this ends up being more of like a podcast style thing because of the length and like how I talk about stuff. This might even be better to kind of like release or like brand as like podcast episodes that look at a one or multiple tracks from a game. Something more interesting to listen to like in the background rather than to pick for like a quick hit of like a certain reaction, because there's a little more discussion. It's just the type of person I am. Anyways, that was awesome. I'm so glad I just randomly thought like, you know, why haven't I listened to Persona 1 and 2 music? And this was an amazing introduction to it. I really, really liked it, and I'm looking forward to more. This was sick. I'm going to listen to it more. Anyways, until next time, au revoir.